Hello, you don't know who I am, but today we're going to talk about the Sega Master System. It is one of my new obsessions, it's one of my new loves. Why didn't you tell me about it earlier? This is such a great system. Anyways, before we get right into it, watch the video. At the very end, we're going to discuss our ideas of what we're going to do with the channel to follow along with some more Master System news. All right, let's get right to it. The Sega Master System debuted here in the US just a little after the Nintendo Entertainment System in September of 1986. As you see, this is a beautiful, sleek, and slick-looking little piece of machinery. This was a redesign from the Japanese model, so that it could appeal to Western audiences, a more futuristic look rather than how the NES had more of a VCR regular console style look.
Sega challenges you with the ultimate video games. Games that'll blow you away, like Alex Kidd in Miracle World. And coming soon, Monopoly. Knockout games like Rocky. Gangster Town. And shift into more excitement with the arcade hit Outrun. Only on the Sega system. Sega, the challenge will always be there.
Well, for many years, I've been wanting to experience the Master System and what Sega was doing as they were competing with Nintendo and the NES. As you might have seen, a while ago, I was able to finally add the Master System to my collection. And my goodness, why didn't you tell me about this earlier? The Master System is great. It's really great. It's a wonderful, powerful, wholly entertaining 8-bit system that I didn't know that I really needed just to have it. I mean, who knew? And why didn't you tell me earlier? Well, that's a good question. Who did know? Because, as I'm about to tell you, there weren't too many systems here sold in North America. Before I drop those numbers, I want you to take a look at this. Once you put in a cartridge, this system looks, exponentially better. Just by adding that little bit. Look how just amazing that is now. God, when you put that cartridge in, it's just the chef's kiss. Well, according to the various information I could find all over the internet, the Sega Master System here in the United States only sold around 2 million units. Now, for context and comparison, the Nintendo Entertainment System sold somewhere around 24 to 30 million here in the US, while Nintendo's worst system, the Wii U, sold around 6 million. And Sega's own last foray into the console market, the Dreamcast, sold only 4 million units. Well, and yes, the Dreamcast is also on my wish list. But all those previous numbers look great when you compare them to the poor Atari Jaguar, which only sold around 150,000 units here in the US. Oh, goodness. Poor Atari.
Fist and stomach, foot and face arcade hit. 19 stages of major ninja warfare. Observe. You got your throwing stars, your bombs, your nunchucks. Nice shot. If you live through this round, you get ninja magic. Hey, you can be next. Hey, I can't see.
Shinobi, just one of 70 games from Sega. Games and accessories sold separately. And coming this Christmas, 2-player Double Dragon. Sega, major.
Master System games came in standard cartridges, smaller and simpler in design from the Nintendo cartridges, and they have games that were also released on these little Sega cards. Now, the game cards don't have quite the iconic style of the NES, but it gets the job done, and you can see how the simple design method is continued on with the Genesis. When we look at the software, we find a small number of companies involved with Sega, as Nintendo at the time had some very strict rules for third-party developers and publishers that really kept companies under Nintendo's thumb and away from Sega. Insomuch that I could only find 3 different publishers for Master System games: Sega, Activision, and Parker Brothers. Now, there were at least several other developers willing to work on some games, but that's still small potatoes when you compare it to the whole ham hock of Nintendo. Nowadays, I do enjoy the simplicity, and I appreciate the structured consistency that Sega had going on with their box art designs. I can see how the brand recognition now is supposed to work and what they are looking to achieve. Now, because this was in stark contrast to what Nintendo had going on at the time with the bigger, well, not bigger boxes, as you'll see, the sizes were the same, but with the bolder boxes with the colors and the artwork of varying degrees. Even the old school Nintendo black style boxes compared to the newer ones, you can see they were always allowing a lot more creativity. And it wasn't until much later on in the Master System's life, a few years in, where their boxes became a bit more colorful as well and allowed for larger art display. And as you can see here, in comparison to the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive games, they went ahead and kept the same size of the box, the same clamshell, which was great for protection, the same style even of cartridge, while on the inside about the same size as well, to keep their the brand recognition continually going into the next generation when the Genesis came in to take things over.
Sound and power can be yours. The Sega Master System of Entertainment.
The Master System controller is decent. The 1 and 2 buttons feel really good, very springy, good tactile feel to them. The control pad has got 8-way directions on it. It's a little spongy. Not as great as the Nintendo 4-way directional little pad. The thing that is lacking is the start and select button, of course, that Nintendo has. Overall, Nintendo does just have a better basic controller. But one of the saving graces of the Master System is that you can plug in your Sega Genesis controller, so you can use that as well. It allows you to use I think it's the B and C button in place of 1 and 2. Now, comparatively, the Sega Master System and Nintendo Entertainment System were very similar spec-wise, with the Master System being a tad bit more powerful and able to display a few more colors, while the NES definitely boasted the better sound capabilities. But everyone loves to talk about microprocessors and their various names and numbers. If I were a microchip connoisseur, I'm sure this info here that I'm about to dump on you would mean something even more to me than what it's going to sound like. Now, if I read things correctly, and I did somewhat decent research, the Master System graphics are powered by an NEC Zilog Z80A. That's a capital A, running at 3.58 megahertz. For comparison, the flux capacitor found in time-traveling DeLoreans run at 1.21 gigawatts. So there's quite a bit of more processing power needed for time travel. Now, are those any way related to what's going on here? Well, I don't know. Other than being both from the 80s and having a decimal point within them, I think that's about it. Well, as we wind down, there's one last piece of information I want to give you. The Sega Master System here in the United States released close to 115 or 116 games in total. You know what that smells like? That smells like a collection challenge worthy of my time and effort. Empty calorie games and all, inasmuch that this episode could be the first in a new series as we track down and then play all of the Master System North American games. And I'm not talking about just loose cartridges. I'm talking about full meal deals. I'm talking about we get the cartridges, we get the box, and we get the instructions. And then we put together a full collection, a full game library for the Sega Master System. Yeah, I think that's a great idea and a great challenge. Alright, you ready? Let's go! Alright, and there you have it. My initial thoughts on the Sega Master System after owning it for just a little bit. And realizing that there's just a finite, small amount of games out there for the North American release, and I think it's a wonderful idea to go ahead and try and collect them all, as I said, collect them all as a full meal deal, and then to just look at them, review them, and talk about them a little bit. So that's what's going to be happening. I just want to take the time to say thank you for watching the video. I hope you liked it, and look forward to getting into some more Master System goodness as time goes by.
As time goes by?
And we'll catch you on the next one, and as always, game on.